this is zero. Misunderstanding, you were looking for us to hero. Save you from that salary rap, fancy your ear. Filter knowledge, frequency, bullshit, heard clear. Self-absorbing. What's up, y'all? This is Nytelife at 4BarLoop, and I'm here with my guest today. He is a interviewer. He has his own radio show, and it's from College Park, Georgia, by way of Naptown, Indiana. It's Taj Longino. How you doing today, man?
I'm good. What's going on? What's going on, Chief? How you doing?
All right. Please make sure I pronounce your name correctly, because people be so nice and they be like, just let me go through the whole interview, and then after the interview, be like, yo, it's this.
Yeah, it's actually pronounced Taj Longino.
Taj Longino. Okay. I will
Yeah.
make sure I pronounce it that way from here on out. And thank you for correcting me. How's everything going today, man?
Everything's good. It's been a good day. I've been waiting on this. I've been waiting to do this interview most of the day. I've been thinking about what we're gonna talk about. And I actually had a chance. I want to shout you out because I actually had a chance to review one of your music videos.
Okay.
And I checked out one of your joints. And actually, I couldn't even remember the actual name of it. I was just watching it. You was I forgot the name of it. Just dropped it 3 months ago.
Was it Need That?
Yes, Need That. And I used to rap, so I look for certain things when I'm listening to the bars, and you definitely is a spitter. So I definitely want to salute you for, for the nice track. I liked it.
Hey, man, I appreciate that. I appreciate you going and taking a look at that and watching it. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Hey, no problem.
So, man, my homie is from out in Atlanta named Cam Hertz, man. So I know that you frequent out of there. So, as far as what from you being there, what took you out of Georgia?
Family. I was a kid actually. I was having fun in College Park, Georgia, running around doing what we do in the South. And one day, my dad always told my mother, anytime you ready to go back home, you can go back home. And randomly one day I came home from school, and next thing I know, we was leaving, going to Indianapolis. And me and my sister didn't know no better. So it's like, who want to go to Indianapolis? Yeah, let's go. We didn't know no better. So next thing I know, we moved and ended up in Indianapolis.
Man, I mean, that must have been. Was that a culture shock for you? Because I mean, College Park is just so rich in hip hop history with with Outkast and Goody Mob and and all the Organized Noise and everybody from around that area in Decatur and stuff like that. From going into there and then going to Indiana, was it like a culture shock for you, or was it cool?
Definitely, but it was more of a culture shock from the way we lived differently. Because where I was at in College Park, it was 2-parent homes, middle class Black America, and so when I moved up here, it was like the first thing I started meeting was people who lived just with their mom. And it was a difference from that aspect. And then I lived in College Park, like I said, it's predominantly Black. Well, I had to learn how to mix in with other races and all that. So it was definitely a change that I had to get adjusted to. But from musically, what's crazy is, I tell you what's something that's funny. I was 10 years old when I moved. It was 1990. I didn't even get into that was just really when hip hop was really coming into. I was more into the West Coast. I was into NWA, DJ Quick, Second to None, Spice One. That was Too Short. It's my favorite rapper. Yeah. That was my favorite rapper of all time, E40. And I listened to a little bit of East Coast. I didn't even get into the South until later on, to be honest with you.
Man, that's crazy. But you know what? It's not really as crazy as it sounds, because a lot of cats from the South, their influences were like E40 and Too Short and Spice One and 415 and all of those different artists. And a lot of their influences, as far as for music is concerned, came from there. So I hear that a lot from a lot of people that come from the South, which I think is dope, because as we looked at it, like I said, for me, a lot of influence came from me, from like Outkast and from Goody Mob and from from JD and all of them. It's like there's a lot of stuff that came from down
Right.
south, up our way that we was influenced by heavy too.
Yeah, and honestly, I listened to Chris Cross, the Brat, and I was a kid around that time. I was coming up in
Yeah,
that era. So, but when it came to the Duns and Family, who now, when I started listening to them, I had to adjust my ear because again, I'm listening to none but West Coast music with a little bit of East Coast. And I'm talking about D Nice, LL, just a few. But when West Coast has their own sound, so when I start listening to Outkast, I had to adjust my ear a little bit to be able to appreciate what they was bringing, what they was doing in Goody Mob. And CeeLo Green's one of my favorite rappers. I think he's very underrated. I think he's one of
absolutely.
the most underrated artists in the game.
Yeah, that's the truth, man. CeeLo is definitely he's a hell of a writer too, man. A lot of these hits and stuff that he was dealing with a lot of pop acts, he was writing a lot of that stuff, man. And he's unsung when it comes to that stuff, and just as a rhymer too. I mean, he was rapping cats under the table back then, and I'm pretty sure he still do it now though. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, he's a beast.
Yeah, so shout out to CeeLo, man. As far as you said you was a rhymer. I know you say he was a rhymer at one time. So was that something that kind of got you into this interview lane?
That is a great question. Actually, yes, because I've always wanted to be in entertainment. I knew I wanted to do either acting, rapping, something. But rap was one of my passions, one of my first passions. But as you know, in this rap game, it is a struggle because everybody's rapping.
Yeah.
Especially when you come up in the 90s and it was fresh and everybody wants to do it. Excuse me. So what ended up happening, I said, okay, when the rap career wasn't working, not because I didn't feel like I had the music, it's because I needed the resources. I didn't have the team. I didn't have the way in. Plus, I'm in Indianapolis. Ain't nobody checking for nobody in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
So what I had to do was, when the idea came around to come into media, I figured, why not go in through the back door? See, a lot of people who want to be into this game got to understand one thing. You may not always get in going through the front. Sometimes you got to sneak your way in through the side and through the back. You might have to go be a manager for a little bit. You might have to go be a PR or a photographer or something. But there's a way to get in. You don't always got to go in through the front door.
See, and let's talk about that, because I think that's undersold with people that are doing hip hop media and doing interviews and stuff like that. These is good ways to make connections and to be able to network with cats, because I met so many people throughout, as far as being able to expose them to my music, just like you was able to listen, you was able to watch my video. When you had this avenue to be able to meet, extraordinary people that do things, man, and artists, and hear their stories, and then have opportunities, and this has opened up opportunities to do music with people and stuff too. What are some of the things that you have gained off of that?
I want to piggyback on what you just said. What people don't understand is this. It was more easier for me to meet these individuals that I needed to meet as a interviewer than it was when I was coming into them trying to give them a CD. Because they got people doing that shit to them every day, all day. They in their emails. Every city and every town they go, they got somebody in their face. But when I realized that the connection was easier as an interviewer, if I decided to return to the music and to the rap, it would have been a lot easier for me, because now I got the connections, and I'm not backed by a big brand or radio station where I'm bound, where I can't, where I'm muted from even speaking to them outside of working for the radio station or for the TV station. I'm independent. So
Right.
Those contacts are mine. And so now how I decide to exercise them is up to me. So people got to understand that when you're not quitting the music, you're just going through another avenue to present your music later on. And people understand, they understand that.
Yeah, man, and that's the thing, man. I got several homies that are in that are in media that have done exactly the same thing. That's been the blueprint. It's like, okay, some of them was doing music at first, said, let me back up off this for real quick, and then get into this media game, and they was able to make connections and then resurface and then come back out with hits and stuff like that. So that's not a it's not a bad way to go, and it's not waving the white flag on your career as far as music is concerned too, because that's something that I'm gonna always do. I'm gonna always love to do music, regardless of whether I'm doing these interviews or podcasts or whatever. I'm still gonna love doing music. That's my A1. So, it's still a great way to just get exposure, and just like you said, man, that may be the cheat code for cats, because people want to talk about themselves when you're in the process of their music. They want to tell people about their music, so that's the easiest way. Yo, you want to sit down with me and talk to me? Oh yeah, cool, I'll go ahead and do that. And it's like you got big names. I mean, I seen you with 50. I seen you with a couple of other cats. I was just like, man, that's crazy.
And that's all because I'm in here doing this media game. You know what I mean? So if I'll give you a little secret. So when I'm doing interviews, at the end of when we're done with the interview, whether it be on like we're doing it here, or we're on the phone, or if we're doing it live, or we're doing it in person, I always at the end of that, I try to at least have some type of dialogue with the guests. We just don't drop the camera and the phone and just walk off and do what we gotta do. No, we try to have a conversation, because this is your leverage.
Yeah.
Use the media as your leverage. But what I would tell people, if you're going to get into this media game, understand this game. This game is becoming saturated with people who are just using it but not loving it.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's kind of messing up, the essence and the core of what this thing really is supposed to be about. You know what I mean? It's our job as interviewers, right, to ask the right questions, so the fans can get the answers that they want from the favorite guests that they're watching. You see what I'm saying? So people gotta understand, you get into this media game, no, it's not gonna pay off right away. This is not a tangible product where you just gonna make a meal. You ain't gonna make a meal ticket right out the gates with this. You know what I mean? Use it, build it, use it as a leverage, and use it to get into the music game. Use it to get into another lane, into some business. You can use this media game to get into business real heavy. I've seen people do that. So use it, but understand that you gotta, treat it the same way you treat the other avenues that you want to use it to get in.
Yeah, let's spin off that, because I think people think that this is a lot easier than it is.
Nah.
Having to get in and formulate these questions to ask people, and then knowing how not to step on people's toes when you're asking questions, and you know what I'm saying? And that's an art and a skill in itself. And then people just think that, oh, okay, well, if you just get, this program, then I can just talk to this person and people will watch it. And it's like, nah, it's not like that. And I think that's the hard thing, is like when you're trying to shop yourself as an interviewer and stuff like that. There's gonna be times when people are gonna be thinking, well, okay, this is just more illegitimate shit. Like I don't want to waste my time. But you have to be able to. How you garner respect is doing the things that you're doing. As making the connections that you're making, and being in front of some real cats and talking to them as if they're people, as opposed to you being the the pump it up guy on them. You know what I'm saying? It's just, well, it's such an honor to be here with you, and you're so, man, let me tell you. It's like, dude, it can't be fanboy shit when you doing this.
But you know what? I will tell you this. I had a fan moment twice. A real fan moment. Because again, I grew up in the 90s. So one of my fan moments is when I met Bone Thugs and Harmony.
Wow.
Because I was 14 when Thuggish Ruggish Bone came out, and we was watching The Box, and it came on TV all day long. Yeah. Come on now, Channel 47.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah. So when I met them, they came into town. They was at this club called The Vogue, and it was just Flesh. It was Flesh, Crazy Bone, and Wishbone. I don't think Biz wasn't with them, and Lazy wasn't with them. It was only three of them. And but even at that, man, they treated me like I was fam. And to be standing in front of them, knowing that I used to watch these guys as a kid, I know most of the words, even though you can't understand some of the words sometimes. I had fell into a fan mode for about 45 seconds, and then I got off into my job.
Well, I think that's allowed at some point. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying in general, it's like that's kind of a tough thing to do, man. And it's just, trying to craft this stuff and get to the meat and potatoes about what it is about them that people want to know. That's the rough part.
Yeah.
But so
people
as far
gotta understand this too, like.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But people gotta understand this. Yeah, people got these celebrities who they look up to and they praise and they think they're just the best people in the world. These celebrities are wish-washy. They funny acting sometimes. You don't know what kind of mood you're gonna catch them in. You have to be extremely careful when you are lining up your questions in the conversations you having. Prime example, 85 South, their podcast. They just did a podcast the other day with Rick Ross, and it went south real quick. 85 South went south with the interview real quick. Ross got up in the middle of the interview and left. He got up and walked out.
You cannot afford to have those things happen.
No. Even when you are 85 South or anybody else who's big right now, you still gotta humble yourself and understand that every interview counts. And any little thing that goes wrong, if it goes bad, that can damage you moving forward with other celebrities coming onto the show. They might think twice before doing it. So this video game is real gaming.
So do you think that that's just one of those things where they're tending to try to lean towards that viral moment, where they're asking the uncomfortable thing to get cats out of their character and just be, to see if they can get a wild out moment to get their clip viewed 10,000 times?
I mean, it could be, but based on the way I saw it, I don't think that's what it was. I just think they were being them. They were doing them. They was being themselves, but it just didn't click with him. And instead of reading the body language and the face and understanding, looking at his facial expression change and his tone change, they kept going with it. And when he just didn't want to deal with it anymore, he got up and left. That's just, again, that's that training and understanding how to read your guest. You know what I mean? So I'll give you a quick story. Anthony Hamilton, I had him on my show many moons ago. And when he got initially on, we did a phone interview. This back when phone interviews was popular, right? So when we did the phone interview, I could tell by the way he got, when he first answered the phone, someone right. So I said, okay, I'm not sure where this is going. So let me make sure I'm careful with this. And the interview just didn't go good. It just didn't go the way I did. It's something I think, when I talked to his people after that, I think he was just having one of those days. I just think it was one of those moments. And that can happen. So that's when you got to read, even when you're on the phone, whether you're in front of them or not, you got to be able to read the situation and know how to massage it without getting yourself in trouble.
Yeah, and even that, and just not taking advantage of the situation when you already know what time it is. And I think we're just in that clickbait society now, where it's just like, okay, well, I want to get him to say some foul shit about me, so that way I can just people will watch it. But it's just not, that's not. There's no integrity in that, though. There's no integrity in that. It's like, man, I would rather a person be comfortable and want to enjoy the fact of being interviewed, as opposed to them like feeling like they're gonna get ambushed around every question. And this is not, you know what I'm saying? They're trying to make it like, oh, it's Dateline NBC. Like, I'm gonna ask all the hard hitting questions and ask about all the rumors. And no, man, cats be wanting to break from that shit. It's like, I'm here to talk about this album or this project or this art piece or this whatever. I'm here to talk about that. So let's stick on, let's stick to code with that. If I decide I want to give you something, then I'll give you something. But we can't be putting people in positions to try to expose themselves for our betterment.
And you let them bring that conversation in. You see what I'm saying? So it's a lot of jewels, man. People understand this is, you can get put in that black book real quick. Real quick.
So moving on with that. So what's some of the trials and tribulations that you had as like as an interviewer, with your show?
Location. For one, everybody doesn't look at Indianapolis as a market to really take serious, even though they should. They don't. And then too, man, just people they see the pictures, right? You saw the picture with 50. You see the pictures with Martin Lawrence and all that. That stuff ain't easy, man. You know what I mean? People see the ones that you look at the picture and you see the people I'm standing next to, and those are the ones we got accepted.
Mhm.
But you don't see the rejections that we get, the non-responses that we get. You know, that's the challenge right there. When you got a big name, when you know there's an interview you need to go get and you can't get it, that's one of the biggest challenges. But one of my biggest challenges is just the location. But other ones, man, just fighting through this new media wave now. And what I mean by that is, okay, so we just had the pandemic, right? When everybody was inside, that was an opportunity for everybody to bum rush the celebrities, get as much content out there as you can get while we locked down in the house. But what ended up happening? What ended up happening, Nightlife? I tell you, the celebrities turned the cameras on. The celebrities turned the microphone
Yeah.
on. So why do I need to go sit with a 4BarLoop and Taj Longino Show when I can go sit with my homie over here? I know him.
Right.
You know
Right.
what I mean? I trust him. I know he ain't gonna do me bad on IG Live. So that's what happened. They changed the game. So when the game changed, I had to sit back and say, okay, how do we get in? How do we fit back in now? Because it didn't change. We ain't doing red carpets right now. You know what I mean? We're not at the festivals right now. Everything's locked down. So how do we adjust to this? And I think we're the independents, like me and yourself, we're still finding ways to adjust to it because now they done took off. They done came into this game in the last few years and then took off. And it's like, wow, we've been doing this. We've been doing this for a minute, and but that's just the challenge come with it. This is why when you do it and you love it, you'll figure it out and keep moving forward.
Yeah, the gift and the curse and all of that, man, was having programs to be able to do stuff that you don't have to go to locations anymore. When nobody had to spend money to fly such and such out or to do this or to do the telephone interviews and you can see people's faces and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's like everybody can do it. So it's like you have to learn a certain skill set to be able to be looked to as a source of that and to be known for that. Um, you look at different podcasts and stuff like that. The ones that are going to survive are the ones that are going to constantly be able to change and entertain. And when you don't do that, and you are just you can't relate to somebody, or you can't speak to somebody and have them open up to you. Nobody's going to watch that.
Yeah, that's true. That's true, and that's where. And on top of that, man, what I've seen, what I've learned in this, what I've learned in the last 12 to 24 months is people love messy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When I want to watch good entertainment interviews, there's only a certain few people I'm going to go watch. You know what I mean? The majority, what I see is people want the messy, man. They want the drama. They want the crazy stories. You know what I mean? And that's not. I can't roll like that, man. I gotta give them. You gotta give them who you are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You gotta give them who you are.
Yeah, and then the thing about it is, man, if you start digging on folks, then what's to stop them from digging on you? We all got shit that we don't want people to know. So it's like you sit yourself up there and you do all of this and you think you got over, and all of a sudden you look and you got stuff online and you got people hitting you about certain shit. It's like, nah, that's not the position I want to be in, man. I always want to be always want to be favorable. So where it's like, man, and then opening that opportunity to be able to get a favor when I need a favor. You're not going to get favors if you continue to drag out dirt on people. That's just not how it's going to work.
And that's happening right now. If you really pay, I'm not going to throw the name out there, but if you really pay attention to certain individuals who was at the Jay-Z brunches and the Diddy brunches and all that, they're not there anymore. And there's a reason for that. There's a reason for that.
Yeah, so let's get into some other stuff, man. So when you have this is the one that be killing me. So when you have that that subject is hitting you with the one word answers, probably not comfortable when interviewing, how are you able to calm them and provide an interesting interview?
Well, if I feel like if I and you talking about me asking me as me interviewing somebody, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if I get that, I'm going to probably end the interview real quick. I'm going to go ahead and get through instead of it being this how me and you are caught talking back and forth and you're blending the questions in within there. I probably wouldn't even go that far with it. Once I get the vibe and I feel like you're just not going to give me anything. And I'm trying my best to. And once I'm not, I'm probably just going to hit with the QA, and we're gone.
Just go ahead the quick wrap. So what about the opposite? What about if somebody that just take off, man, and they just can't like stop, like you got. I've had a couple interviews where I've had only answered.
I've had some.
I've asked a total of like 4 questions during the interview, dude, and the cats just go. They just go. Like I don't even. I mean, and so how do you deal with that? I know how I deal with it. But how you deal with it?
I shouldn't even say this, but I know how to tune stuff. I know how to tune stuff out, and I'm patient, but furthermore, I like that in a sense. Though sometimes that's good. Excuse me. The long-winded answers sometimes is good because that long-winded answer could lead you back into a question that you didn't have prepared coming. So it's not always a bad thing. Now, if they just rambling and shit, then that's different. Excuse my language. If they just rambling, that's different. But if they're giving you some stuff that you can use, then it's good. You just gotta pick it, figure out which one they're giving you.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Sometimes they if they just kind of just with straight diarrhea, man, you'll be able to catch some stuff and be able to pull it out and make questions out of it and make more of an interview out of it.
I've had a few.
There's been some roadblocks, bro. Where I was just sitting up here and they just look at my screen froze because I'm sitting here listening to cats for like 10 minutes, like on one answer, and I'm like, yo, can we?
I got a cat. I interviewed a cat that you know. I'm pretty sure you know this actor, and yeah, it was one of those. It was one of those it was very long, man. Very long.
All right, so I'll circle back and ask you your best and worst interview situations a little bit later. But really, what I want to get into is, this is a tough business to be able to generate funding and produce these shows. And what are some of the tips that you can possibly give someone that's starting out to do that?
Keep your day job. Keep your day job because, like I said it in my documentary, Who is Taj Longino? That I funded everything through my employer. You know what I mean? I used that money to I went through my pocket and got that. You know what I mean? And you don't have to. I know the typical stories. You was in the streets and you sold the bricks and but you don't got to do that to fund your dream. You can fund your dream through your job. You can fund your dream through if you got like a business or something. You can fund your dream the right way. It's going to take you a little longer, yes, but you ain't got to worry about jail time, looking over your shoulder. You can do it in peace,
yeah,
and you know what I mean, and with no worries of that kind of stuff. And then it gives you a chance to be creative. But honestly, man, it's just a tough business to generate some money off of. So you have to be extremely creative. You got to, honestly, I think what I would have did more if I tell somebody, knock on the doors. Do not assume people are going to turn you down for sponsorship money because you're new and up and coming. You'd be surprised at the people that will give you 25, 50, maybe 100, just because you had the guts to go in there and present yourself professionally and come speak to them. So if I did that a little more, and just get off into these cities where the action is going. Find a way to move around. If you're not already in the big city, you find a way to move around, but start with your own city and the small businesses, and you'll be surprised, man, the people that will support you. I wish I did that more, honestly.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's the thing that's kind of a struggle too. Is like when you're out here and you have a show and you're trying to promote it. It's tough to get other people to promote it. That's probably the main issue, because it's like you want to try to get as many interviews as you can as possible, but getting other people to share this and promote it and whatever, it's just tough because it's a competing space. Everybody is doing something that's media related. Everybody has a music video. Everybody has a YouTube page. Everybody has this. So they kind of feel like, oh, well, we're competing, and it's like, no, we're not competing. We can all feed each other when it comes to that, man. If you just we just gotta be commandeering of what we're doing and share, each other's stuff. I don't
You
mind
know
being
that
in
ain't
the
gonna
same lane
happen.
as some. I don't mind being in the same lane
You
as somebody though. That's
Man,
that's the thing.
yeah.
That's the thing
Hey,
that's
that
weird about it.
sounds. Hey man, that sounds good. You know that ain't about to happen, man. Everybody's every man for themselves. Get in where you fit in. Don't step on my toe along the way. But I mean, you're right. But that's just not this entertainment business, man. This entertainment business is rough. It's cutthroat. It's vicious. And I learned that the hard way, being on the red carpet the first time. When you on that red carpet, you got Tyrese coming down, you got Tom Joyner coming down, you got Sean Marion coming down. Everybody, I didn't know. I didn't know that it was move you out your way, jump in front of you. It's real. So, and that's just from the working next to somebody aspect. We ain't even
Right.
got to talk. We ain't even got to the money yet. But here's the good thing though. When I got into this talk business, this podcast game, it wasn't popular back then, and there wasn't a lot of money around for it. Now it's a lot of money around. There's more opportunity. There's a lot of platforms like StreamYard, Riverside.fm, Anchor. There's a lot of platforms that you can use to build your network up
Yep.
and get paid. So there's opportunities out there. People just got to read through the research, continue, do not stop recording, even when you don't feel like it, when you're sick, when you're tired, when you have nothing left to give yourself. Continue to hit the record button and record something. I will tell you from experience, if you are inconsistent with your viewers, they will be inconsistent with you. Continue to work, and you build it, they will come.
Hey, that's dope advice, man. So tell me about your show. Um, what
So
are
the,
what are some of the things that you touch on in your show?
the Taj Longino Show actually started out as issues of Today Talk Radio. And I did that back in, I think, '07. And what that was is I discuss topics that affect us each and every day, family, religion, politics, things of that nature. And I still do the same thing now. It hasn't changed. I just changed the name. And I changed the name because I went from that to Talk with Taj, because I saw again the media game was changing to individual titled shows
Mm-hmm.
where we're talking to the actual celebrity interviewer. And then I changed it again when I saw that it was moving to a video space. So the first time I went video was at the Super Bowl in Indianapolis when the
Oh,
Super
that's
Bowl
dope.
came in. Yeah, so we went downtown and we did our thing down there. And so it really it's just the same. There's nothing changed about the show. I just changed the name, and now it's the Taj Longino Show. As you see my hat, it says "Wake up, goddammit." What that that is an expression. That is my slogan. That is how I view life right now. Everybody needs to wake up, goddammit. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot going on in the world, and if you're not paying attention, you will sleep at the wheel. If you're asleep at the wheel, you need to wake up. You need to wake up to what's going on around you. You need to wake up to what's going on inside your home and outside your home. We just got a lot of work to do. So, Taj Longino Show, wake up, goddamn it, ain't changed. It's still the same thing. We're still discussing these issues. I'm just doing it through a different way now.
So how are you able to balance the social issues with the entertainment? Because I know people love to be fed entertainment, but when it comes to trying to learn things, it's hard. We try to balance that on what the podcast too, the same way. How do you balance that?
It's hard, man, because again, people want the drama. They want the mess. So are you gonna do that and compromise yourself? Or are you gonna stick to your guns and take a long road this way? So I tried it and I couldn't do it, man, because it's not who I am. I'm a person that's always been about the people. I'm a person that's always been about the issues. I like to have fun too. So if you're on my Instagram, you'll see me talk about, you'll see me talk about a wide range of things, but you'll find that my core passion are the issues. What I mean? Crime rate, like I said, politics and who we have in office and how they're in what direction they're moving. Every single thing that's about the issues, man. How we get better as people is my core. Um, that's my core line of what I'm going to talk about. And I'm sticking to that.
So as you make these subjects on your show, um, as far as social activity? Has that bled out into your social activity, and what are you doing, out in these streets to help?
Well, actually, I just doing some work with a local organization now. We Bring Hope Network, where they work with the youth and they work with them on dealing with they using boxing. So through Triumph Boxing, they teach them boxing. They try to use that as a way to just teach them how to deal with their emotions and their issues when they're dealing with stress, when they're dealing with anxiety, depression, suicide. And they have at the end of it, they have a mentorship where they sit around each other in the group and they have these discussions, and you'll be amazed at what these kids are going through. You'll be amazed at how they're thinking, what they're thinking, how they're feeling. And then, so we're working with them, and honestly, man, just using my platform right now. We do got some plans to do some stuff in the future, but right now, using the voice. Your voice is powerful. Your words are powerful. Use them for the power of good. You will reach one, and you can change some things.
Yeah, that's very admirable, man. Especially with mental health. I mean, that's a hot button issue right now, especially in the Black community. It is, you know, continuing to be one of those things. Like we just saw the video with the unfortunate video with the gentleman. I don't even know if we can call him gentleman. The one that basically, did something to his kid's mom, and then went on to do something else. And it was just like, you see things like that, and people crumble in public like that, man. And dealing with certain issues and stuff. It's really hard because you be wondering whether they really have anybody that's there for them or not.
And I know exactly what you're talking about. He killed I think he went and killed his ex-wife, and then killed his wife, and then killed himself. Yeah. I saw that. That's unfortunate. And I think a lot of times as Black men, we don't want to open up. We don't want to be vulnerable. We don't want to be looked at as weak. But people need to know we have problems too. We got feelings, we got emotions, and we got to be able to get that out. And we got to have somebody we can get that out too. So when we need to go vent, I got people I can call right now. They'll let me tear their ear off for an hour, complaining and venting. But I'd rather them. I'm glad that they do that, because you don't know if you don't have that person there, or that you don't have that support system, what you'll do. You might end up in a situation like them. You know what I mean? So it's sad that ended up like that. But that man was crying out for help long before that day happened. But somebody may not have been paying attention, or didn't notice, and may not even ask the question. Is there anything wrong? What's wrong? What's going on? I see some changes in you. Is everything okay? Are you sure? When you care, you kind of pay attention. When you're attentive to the people around you that's in your life, you kind of pay attention to what's going on with them, and you can actually get in there and try to see if there's something wrong, you need some help, what's going on. And that's unfortunate. But I think people on both sides, I think we need to open up more. And then people that's got to always stop looking at us like we can just deal with everything, because we can't. We need somebody to talk to as well. We need somebody to help us manage these emotions as well, because we go through a lot as Black men every day.
Yeah, I mean, that's the problem. I mean, when you being the one that's the strong one that's listening, everybody thinks because you're the listener that you don't have problems. And that is the far and away most inaccurate thing possible. You say you hear things in conversations when friends say stuff like, I don't want to be here, or man, I don't know if I can take this much longer. I mean, you got to listen for all of those things that are just like, kind of, I know red flag is underused, that are red flags, to be able to, hey, let me pull you aside and try to see what's going on. Do you need to talk to somebody? Do you need some help? Because a lot of times, we, back in the day, it was, oh man, shut up with that shit. Like, nobody want to hear that. But you can't. But now it's like this is not the time for that. You have to listen to these things, because people are really like especially coming off the pandemic too. Like people are putting themselves in position where they are really are moving on these things and moving on these feelings that they have of inadequacies and wanting to end their life and stuff. So we gotta be careful when it comes to that.
Yeah, and too, like people gotta. I know there's a lot going on, right? We got COVID. We got crime rate is up. I know it's a lot going on. You still got the police brutality. You just got everyday life, man. A lot of this stuff is just everyday life. COVID was probably the one thing that really nobody has come across, nobody has had to go through in their life. That was all the way new. Outside of that, man, we've always dealt with racism. We've always dealt with
Mhm.
police brutality. We've always dealt with community violence. We've always dealt with trying to come up and earn a living for our family. These things are everyday life. We just got to learn how to deal with them a little better.
Yeah.
Everything doesn't have to lead to. Excuse me, sorry about that. Everything doesn't have to lead to you jumping off a bridge, slitting your wrist. No, but I will tell people got to stop using drugs and alcohol as a means to fixing their problems because it's not something that doesn't fix anything. That's just a band-aid. It's a temporary fix to a permanent problem that you might have that's permanent. So people have to find different ways to get through those rough patches, but everything's gonna be okay because most of this is just life, man.
Yeah. So it's interesting that you say that. Do you think that music has a lot to do with us looking at those ways as outs?
For those who don't understand, it's all entertainment. When I was a kid, I understood, even though I kind of believed it, I still understood that there's somehow they can't be out killing me. They cannot be doing all this and recording music at the same time.
Right.
They,
Right.
come on, man. You killed 40 people on your album, man. I don't think you did. So I think has gotten too caught up in believing this is real. It's all entertainment. Yes, we're losing artists. Yes, it's spilling over to some real stuff in the street, but the actual core and this entertainment, it's all entertainment, man. It's not real. These dudes go home to mansions.
Yeah.
They're saying all that on record, but they're going home to a mansion. They're not going nowhere near the hood. They're going home in their mansion. We got to stop believing that everything that we see and hear is actually authentic.
But the kids nowadays are more impressionable than the kids. We were as we were growing up, and I don't mean to be like the old person in the room. It's like as we was growing up, it's like we knew what time it was. You know what I'm saying? Our
Yeah,
parents knew what time it was. Hey, don't get
yeah.
it twisted with all the stuff that you hear and seeing on TV and listening to. This is what real life is. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying? Now it's so kids are so impressionable and everything they see. I mean, it's like a couple words on the internet could be like, oh, it said it on Facebook, so it's got to be true. And
Yeah,
it's they so impressionable now. So that's where I think that is the real problem. Is like us as parents, or parents in general have to be the ones to be that the middle person in between the entertainment and in between the child to let them know that okay, I know you're enjoying this, but just know that this is not a real, that this is not real life.
but that's challenging too, because you now we're in a world where everything's 24 hours. See, when me and you grew up, the TV went off. The TV shows went off at 9 o'clock, 10
Facts.
o'clock. They weren't on around the clock. Now everything's around the clock. So you might have a hold on them for a little bit, but eventually you got to go to sleep or you got to go to work. And then, the radio takes over, the social media takes over, and the internet takes over, and the TV takes over, and they got that all day long. And these kids are really buying into these likes and these views. They think that stuff validates them, and it really doesn't. They got to understand this stuff is an illusion. A lot of people that you follow on social media, they ain't living like that. Half of them is broke. Half of them is renting these cars and these houses and these
Yes,
planes.
sir. Yep.
It's not real life. I've seen it. I've seen it. You got to understand it's not everything that you see on social media is not real. Parents got to stop letting the social medias and the TVs and the radio race their kids. They got to
Yeah.
get back to being hands on with the kids.
Yeah. That's a big problem. It's just that the iPad's the babysitter now. The TV is the babysitter. The laptop's the babysitter. That shit is low hanging fruit for for
Because
parents that's on the go because both parents are working out of the house. They're not everybody's working full-time jobs. So it's like they don't and they get home, they don't want to do all of that stuff. They just want to just be like, all right, I need to
right,
decompress. Here, go on ahead and jump on the PlayStation 5 for 6 hours. It's just
yeah,
it's kind of weird, man. But at the same time, that's kind of kind of the world we live in now.
And we gotta get back to, man. Remember, it used to be it was, you would look down upon if you had a baby at 14, 15 years old. And
Yeah,
that was like the
yeah,
cool thing to do. So I think you can't be a kid raising a kid. You have to be an adult that raises a kid. You have to be an adult that you have to wait till you're in a good space in your life, career wise, when you done went through all your playing, all your clubbing, all your schooling and all that, and then you got settled into your career and your life. Then it's time to start raising a family because you have time to parent. I think with a lot of us, and I did, I had my kids young. We didn't have really time to really parent because we was at work, got kids young, and we still learning life ourselves.
yeah,
You know what I mean? So I had mine at 19. So we still figuring out life ourselves. So we just gotta get back to some core ethics, man, and core beliefs, and stop thinking that everything should be acceptable. That's the real problem. Everything is acceptable now. Whatever you do, it should be acceptable and should nobody say nothing. That's one of the real big issues.
yeah. I mean, we remember a time where when you wasn't what you said you was in hip hop, that they would they would they would move you out of the game. That is
It was a
no
rap.
no longer the case.
Rap.
You
Now,
can do
is you can
you
buy
can
your
do
way.
anything, bro. You can do anything now, and you still live, like you still own. They don't cut your money
Yeah.
off, nothing. You have to do something real nuts to be able to get them to stop your
Man,
you moving around out
I
here.
I remember when, if you was a stripper, it was looked down upon. If you was a porn star or something. Now it's like it's like the new career choice. You know what I'm saying? It's like the
Man,
first thing. Man, it's just different. It's just different. And I ain't down to nobody who's a stripper. I'm just saying that things have changed, and you know things have changed. And I just think we gotta do a lot of work. But we are, excuse my language, but we're fucked up.
yes,
That
very much
we're
so.
fucked up. And if we don't get a grasp on it and get a grip on it quick, we're going to be at a point of no return. And people, that's why I tell people to wake up. God damn it, this ain't no game, man. We are fucked
Yes,
up,
sir.
man.
Absolutely, absolutely,
As a
man.
collectively,
See
we
these
are
kids.
fucked up.
You see these kids. I mean, I looked at mine, and it's just like, okay, well, I know mine's got their head on their shoulders pretty good. So I was like, okay, cool. Then I got some ones that can make some changes, that I think that'll make some changes with society. But there's some kids out here. I'm just like, I don't know.
Yeah, because
I'm not sure.
but we gotta wake up, man, and we got to wake up fast, boy. It's just shit. It's ugly. It's ugly.
All right, man. Well, let me go ahead and wrap this up. Go ahead and give the people your socials as far as where they can catch you at, the time of your show, because I definitely want to start watching this show now. I'd love to be on one day, possibly if I could, but it's
Oh
just
yeah.
you are. I really don't even know what to say, man. This has been a great interview. I've had a lot of fun with you, man.
Appreciate it, man. And that's my, when we went back to talking about the interviewing, right? That's our job, fam. I interviewed Arsenio Hall one time, and I learned so much from that interview because that brother is seasoned. He's been on the other side, so he knows how to entertain as a guest when he's not doing the interviewing.
Right.
So it's my job to come on here and give you. That's what we was talking about earlier, right? It's my job to come on here and give you that, because that's what your job is, to ask the questions. My job is to answer them, entertain, and get the people what they want. So hopefully we did that tonight. Hopefully everybody will enjoy this. If you want to find me, you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook at Taj Longino Show. TAJLONGINO Show. All right. And if you want to go to the website, wakeupgoddammit.com. And that is GOT, not GOD. All right. I definitely had a, hey man, this was cool. I definitely enjoyed this. I definitely enjoyed it.
All right, man. Well, I look forward to having you back on in the future, man. And thank you for your time. Appreciate you coming on. So we're gonna go ahead and get out of here. Difficult roads often lead to most beautiful destinations. Shoot your shot. Go for the win. You might make it. Peace.
Salute.